Happy April Fool's Day. What does it mean to be an April Fool? My name is Coach Matt. I am a spiritual certified life coach. Go check us out. You can go and work with us. The link will be down below. We also have event workshops and a ton of other great free materials and resources on our website. What does it mean to be an April Fool? What is April Fool's Day? Well, first of all, seeing as how Aries is technically classified on this plane of existence as the first zodiacal sign, as they often purport, the first sign would be somewhat analogous with the card 0 of the tarot, which would technically be like the first, but it's really not the first. It's kind of outside of its own realm. This, of course, would be the Fool. So April Fool's Day is more of an analogous tradition towards giving back to that energy of foolhardiness and open-mindedness and fun. You know, the positive traits of Aries, the sign of Aries, is often equated to this kind of jovial, foolhardy, lots of fun-having nature. So it's not only that, though. It's also because back in the days that the tarot was kind of formulated, the Fool was considered one of the most powerful cards, and still is to this day, because the Fool can transform into any of the other 21 major arcana of the tarot. Whereas once you step into like the realm of the Magician or the Empress or the High Priestess or anything like that, you're kind of locked into that energy. The Fool is actually the one that's able to have a power over all the other cards, so to speak, because of the way that the tarot was constructed. In fact, when the tarot used to be a game, the Fool was one of the most powerful cards because it basically got you out of the turn, and it was used as the Fool's excuse. You'd say, oh, the Fool's excuse, and then you'd basically win the round. There was a lot of different rules and contentions, and people played it very differently, but that was generally the idea. So April Fool's Day is more of a occult tradition. In fact, it's more of an esoteric tradition, and the way that it is alluded to, as far as the way that we should kind of, I guess, see it, is it's a day to be jovial. It's not a day to pull pranks. That is the way that the Fool has been changed over many years. The jester, the Fool, was one of the most powerful people in a king's kingdom back roughly around the time of King Frederick II's nobility, 1300s, and then kind of moving forward for like the next 100 to 200 years, maybe even 300 years. Once the Americas kind of were being more settled, these traditions kind of fell out of the loop. But King Frederick II, although he's a very controversial figure because he did a lot of really screwed up stuff, but he also did a lot of really good things as well, especially for the esoteric communities, for people who were stargazers or astrologers or magicians or what have you. A lot of what the tarot even embodies, and a lot of what the archetypes represent that Carl Jung would have studied, came from the mind and the ideas surrounding King Frederick II and his way of seeing the sun and the moon, astrology, the deeper realms of the Rosicrucian order, the Knights Templars. At the time, they were the Knights Templars before they became the Rosicrucians. It's a lot of really deep, intricate stuff, and there's a lot of history there because King Frederick II did not like the church nobility. He was actually very staunchly against the church nobility. So there's a lot of contention around his character because he did do some screwed up things. If you look into like the experiments they did, especially regarding babies, there were a lot of babies that died under his experiments. It wasn't like anything crazy. They were experimenting to see what babies needed and what they didn't need, and they found out that babies actually need quite a lot because a lot of them unfortunately passed away. But outside of his wacky schizophrenic mindset, which the 1969 album The Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson, the Euro rock band, prog rock as they call it, they really emphasized, actually secretly, there was an underlying tone of the Crimson King being alluded to King Frederick II. And the reason for this was because of the way that he reshaped and refounded what it meant to even be a king. The way that we see a king with the crown and the scepter and the queen and the throne room and the court, that was actually all created by him. Before that, it was kind of all up in the air, and people could, they all had different interpretations of what it meant. But the more European aspect was really designated by him. And a lot of this was because he was a huge esoteric philosopher, King Frederick II. He hated the Catholic Church, staunchly opposed them. The Catholic Church hated him. The Pope hated him. And this is where we get a lot of the attributes of the tarot. So, getting back to the Fool, April Fool's Day is more about being jovial, being happy. It's the fundamental start of spring, right around this time of year where things are, young and blissful and innocent and happy. That's what the Fool represents. It's going through life with that mindset and that, I guess, intention in the heart. But even deeper than that, though, you have to be a fool and learn new things so that you can become a wise master and then go back to being a fool. What we're seeing now, today, for example, the Netflix documentary that came out, Quiet on Set, about the Nickelodeon, or it's not Netflix, I'm sorry, it's HBO Max, and other platforms, I think, as well. But on that platform, there's a documentary called Quiet on Set. It's about the Nickelodeon producers and people involved with Nickelodeon who were doing bad things to kids. As I often say, those people never get past a teenager mentality. You can even see it in the writing of the shows. Those people never get, and I'm going to make another video on this, but the real secret is to grow old and mature, but to keep the mentality of a child, because a child's not really fixated on things like sexual debauchery and, things like that. It's to live your life as innocently and as purely as a child while also having the wisdom and the maturity of an elder. And that duality juxtaposed is how you can get on the final path from Bina into Chokmah into Kether in the Kabbalah. The last pathway of the fulfillment of the Mashach, which is the fulfillment of the anointment, is going from Chokmah into Kether, and that is ruled by the letter Aleph, which is the letter of God, and also the letter of, or the card of the tarot, the Fool. So it is literally becoming, you start at Kether, you go all the way down to Malkuth, you start from the heavens, you go down to earth, and then your job is to go from the earth all the way back up into the heavens. That's your job. But in order to do that, you first start as a fool, where you lose all the information. Your soul basically departs from the source, and you come down here, and then it's a learning experience. And you have to be foolhardy in order to learn. Because if you think that you know everything, you'll never learn anything. Then once you go from the earth all the way back up, the last thing you have to master is you know nothing. You know nothing. And that's okay. Because life is a fun game to play. It is not a struggle. And if you see it as a struggle, then it will become a struggle. But if you see it as a fun game and you don't work, you play, that is the true secret. So, happy April Fool's Day. I love every single one of you guys. Thank you for everybody who attended our workshop, which will be held tonight between 8 and 10 p.m. You can still sign up for it, the Eclipse Workshop. But I love you guys so much. Today's the last day to sign up for it. And yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Lots of love, guys. Happy April Fools. Take care.